United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Good to see some fresh faces in the house. Excellent. And for good reason. So first off, all official correspondences are on file at the town clerk's office. And the first part of this meeting is our public hearing on a new proposed law. So I am going to read this yet again, right? I am in receipt of the affidavit of posting for the proposed law, local law A of 2022 entitled A Local Law Changing the Residency Requirement for the Office of Deputy Clerk 2 by the Town Clerk Mary Beth Muir, dated April 5th, 2022, and the affidavit of publication of by the Northern Dutchess News dated April 5th, 2022. And with that, we are going to open the meeting to the public for public hearing, on the public hearing only. So anyone here has anything to say about the public hearing only at this point is what we're going to be listening to the public on. So if you have anything to say, the microphone is yours. This is an open forum. There's no time limit, but please be to the point. And I move that we open up the meeting to the public for the public hearing. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The microphone is yours.
Gary Veter, Salt Point Turnpike. With regard to the change of appointing a deputy from not a resident of the town, I would like to, first of all, it's not directed at our town clerk or anything. This law will affect anybody that's in that position, and it's not aimed at individuals. At the same time, you're looking at rules for the town board, and they kind of go together. If the deputy town clerk is not a resident of the town of Pleasant Valley, and the deputy comes from Millerton, I don't care where, pick a place. According to the rules here that haven't been passed yet, but they're under consideration, if the town clerk is not here, the deputy takes over the town board meeting. If the deputy supervisor isn't here, the town clerk takes over the town board meeting according to these other rules. That would mean that somebody from Millerton is coming here to run the town board meeting. I just really think that we need a town resident to be deputy town clerk.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Supervisor, could I make a clarification?
Certainly.
I just wanted to make sure everyone's aware that after the last meeting, a change was made to the draft law, which was posted. Thank you.
Got to get right into it.
Okay. So the change that was made is that the first deputy town clerk would still be a town resident, and any second deputy could be not a resident of Pleasant Valley, but would have to be a resident of Dutchess County. So we would still have the first deputy as a town resident. I just wanted to make that clarification.
Thank you very much.
Mary Meyer, Clark Heights. I guess I'm just wondering why we'd want to have a deputy clerk too that could never be a town clerk ever. Because if Mary Beth wasn't here, usually somebody would run. That person that would run would be a deputy, one of the deputy clerks. So why would we invest money in training on a deputy clerk too that could never be one day be a town clerk? That's my first thought. And then would this be up for permissive referendum?
No, I believe we established that that is not up for permissive referendum.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Do I do the name thing? Tracy
Yes, you do.
Santiago. Tracy Santiago, Salt Point. After the amending of the law with Deputy Clerk 2 could not necessarily, I wish I prepared something. The fact that the second Deputy Town Clerk doesn't need to be a resident to me seems, I know personally I would rather have someone qualified rather than just someone who fits the very mold of geography. This is someone who potentially would end up being a deputy town clerk 1 in an emergency situation, but not a town clerk, correct?
You lost me.
Yeah, so
So-
here's how it work. Here's how it would work. So your town clerk
Yeah.
gets elected by Pleasant Valley. Okay, she has to be a resident.
Resident.
You're in this proposed version of this law, the deputy clerk 1 also has to be a town resident, and the deputy 2 does not have to be a town resident. So
Okay.
if you went down the lineage, if you want to go down that
Worst case scenario
worst
path.
case scenario path, highly unlikely that the deputy 2 would be in charge of the clerk's office at any given time.
So worrying about these things, it seems a little far-fetched. And again, just to reiterate, I would rather someone be qualified for the position rather than focusing on their address, their
Correct.
geography. So that's just, my 2 cents. Thanks.
Thank you. And also going back to lineage, Mr. Veeder, I just want to, those other rules that we're discussing, we're still in discussion. That's a very good point to make. So we may want to add those in those rules and how that would break down. So that if the supervisor wasn't available and the deputy supervisor wasn't available and the town clerk wasn't available and the deputy clerk wasn't available, we're down to we're really in a lot of trouble, I guess, at that point. We're under the churches, if you ask me, but we'll figure out a way to make sure that works. Okay. Anyone else on the public hearing for the law change? Hearing none, I move that we close the meeting to the law change.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Oral committee reports. We have a big night tonight, so folks, just bear with us a little bit. But before we do anything, and a lot of the reason why most of the folks are here is because of the making a difference, presentation of the Making a Difference Award to Jack and Joan Smith. That's what I guess a lot of you folks are here for tonight, which is fabulous. So let me just tell you a little bit about the award before we go any further. Back in 2019, the board at that time, myself was there, I was there, I remember, vaguely. We came up with an idea for people who actually go above and beyond being good neighbors, people who actually put themselves out there and do some great things for their neighbors. Tracy, you've alluded to this many times in the past that you want to live in a town where these are great people and they should be recognized. So the first recipients of the award happened on the same night, and the first one was Herb and Sue Reddle, and this was on September 11, 2019, and they shared that evening with a young Daisy Troop 460, who they were the ones who put the little scarves on the fence so that the homeless folks had something warm to wear. It was a great little thing to do. But tonight we have something even more special, I think. A family, a husband and wife who have done a great job over the years. This is what the plaque that will be displayed as the names go on, as these people have been awarded the award. and it'll just be added and the date and when it was happening. So at this time, I would like to turn the microphone over to our town clerk, who, by the way, when this was created, and the first recipients were Herb and Sue Rettle and the Daisy Troop, the first people she said were the Smiths, and she was the one who was an advocate of and pushing for it. And I'm going to turn the microphone over to our town clerk, Mary Beth Muir, and she could tell you a little bit of the story. And it's a good story. I've heard it.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for coming tonight to honor a very special couple who have touched the lives of so many residents and beyond. Their kindness, generosity, and dedication to the loan closet have gone beyond words. Looking at the size of the crowd here tonight just shows how special they are to each and every one of you in their own unique way. Please allow me to take a few minutes to indulge you with some history of the Pleasant Valley Health Committee in Joan's own words. The Pleasant Valley Health Committee was started in June 1924 in the home of Dr. and Mrs. Irving Leroy after Mrs. Leroy attended a meeting at the home of Franklin Roosevelt, who at the time was recuperating from polio. The Dutchess County Health Association was in its infancy and at that time lacked nurses, lay workers, and most of all, sympathetic cooperation of the public at large. Mr. Roosevelt, always interested in public health, invited the physicians of the county and a woman from each district to the meeting. The object was to make plans for the inclusion of the county districts in public health work, mainly education for immunizations, vaccinations, and prenatal care. Mrs. Leroy called together 15 women to start the first Pleasant Valley Salt Point Health Committee. The first loan closet was started at that time, and packages were made for home births and layettes for new babies. The first child welfare clinic was also held that year. The following year, the first diphtheria immunization clinic was held with much opposition, and only 4 children came. Soon after, an epidemic broke out, and a little girl whose mother was opposed to the clinic died. Another parent stated to the committee member, "You have your son immunized, and I'll have mine." And she did. The next clinic immunized 74 children, and as you know, we no longer have a diphtheria epidemic. In 1930, the health committee put first aid kits in every school in the township. In 1955, the health committee helped with the first Salk vaccine clinic for polio, with 114 children, also assisting with dental clinics at the Grange Hall in the late 1950s. This committee has worked on the other projects as the need arose, but over the years. Diabetes detection kits were distributed in 1956, and a lazy eye clinic was held for several years in the 1960s and early 70s before pre-kindergarten testing had come along. The loan closet was added as the years went by and started to loan hospital equipment. In 1956, Joan's mother, Olive Chereau, took over as chairwoman of the loan closet. It was located at the town hall on Chereau Road, which is now our highway department. Joan joined the committee in 1971, and at the time, there were about 12 health committees throughout Dutchess County. Not all of these committees had loan closets. Joan, along with her husband Jack, have been doing the loan closet for well over 40 years, doing it 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, never denying anyone. A little background on Joan and Jack. Jack, John Brainard Smith, was born in Plano, Illinois on February 24th, 1933. He was one of 4 brothers and 1 sister. Joan, Arlene Chereau, was born in Pleasant Valley on May 24th, 1935. Joan was one of 6 sisters and 1 brother. Joan and Jack have 3 sons and 1 daughter. Joan and Jack met in Washington, D.C. on a blind date when Jack was in the Air Force and Joan was working for the government. When Jack showed up for the blind date, he found Joan in curlers and in her bathrobe. As it turned out, Jack was a week early for their date. They went on their blind date after that and have been together ever since. They married on November 14th, 1954, and shortly thereafter moved to their home on Chereau Road, where they still reside to this day. Jack went to work and subsequently retired from the phone company, New York Telephone, and Joan worked for Freisitzer Electric and then for Joseph Kirchhoff. She retired from there. Both Jack and Joan have been very active in the First Presbyterian Church, which Joan grew up attending. They both greatly enjoyed camping, starting out with a pop-up camper, and then eventually purchased a motorhome, enjoying it for several years, seeing a good part of the country and seeing the sights. Joan kept detailed records of where, how far, and when to stay, and when anyone needed advice to these places or things to do, they would ask Joan, and she would pull out her records and gladly show you what the site had to offer. On April 23, 1991, Joan received a recognition award for outstanding community service by the Pleasant Valley Grange, number 836. There are just not enough thank yous to Jack and Joan for their dedication and service for well over 40 years to the residents of Pleasant Valley. The most truly generous persons are those who give silently, without hope or praise or reward. You are both truly deserving of the Pleasant Valley Citizens Making a Difference Award. The residents of Pleasant Valley are internally grateful to you both. Notable mention, a special thank you goes out to Denny Smith for all his help getting me the background information on the sneak. Asking Jack and Joan questions without them knowing. Please join me in a round of applause, honoring these extraordinary people.
Jack and Joan, if you'd like to come up here, please, if you can, or. Yep, just right over here. Mary Beth, you come up here too. On behalf of the citizens of Pleasant Valley, the town board of Pleasant Valley, our town clerk, and everyone here in Pleasant Valley, we'd like to thank you so very much for your years and dedicated service to your neighbors and to the people here in Pleasant Valley. Thank you so much. This is to you. Can we get a picture? we get to get pictures with the stars. If you guys come right over here and anyone wants to take a shot, and you got a phone? Thank you very much. Once again, ladies and gentlemen. That was the good stuff. Now for the regular stuff. At this time, we'd like to bring to the microphone our county legislators for their report. I'd like to bring Do you want to do it together, or you guys want to do it one? It's a twofer. I'd like to bring to the microphone County Legislator Don Sagliano and County Legislator Deirdre Houston. Boy, Don, can you clear a room?
Yeah, I mean, well, you know, Supervisor Del Vecchio and the rest of the town board, there's no way to compete with that.
No, of
And
course not.
and I noticed how Legislator Houston put me up first, but that's okay. She's got important stuff to talk about too. What I wanted to bring to the town and the residents that are here, some of the items that we recently discussed and passed at our April board meeting, which was on April 11th. First item I want to bring out is that we adopted a bond issuance for $9.5 million for the repairs of various county highway bridges, culverts, etc. It actually is 13.7 because the county adds in the CHIPS money and the state aid. So those improvements have already commenced, some of the design work, and they will be moving along in the future. Second item I wanted to speak to about is the county decided, one of the items that the county decided to do with some of the ARP federal funds was to establish a training program for something called Mechatronics, which is actually the use of circuit boards and items used in the chip manufacturing and high-level manufacturing for the electronic processes. This is going to be in conjunction with Dutchess Community College. The college is going to run the program, but there's a need to have these types of service people available to work on these $40 million tools, which are all powered by, the circuit board in your cell phone. So that's something that's going to be moving forward. So the college is going to be handling that. The big point, and you probably saw it in the paper, is that on June 1st, the county is going to be rescinding its sales tax on the retail purchase of motor fuels. That's gasoline and diesel. And it's going to go from June 1st to December 1st. The reason why it has to start on June 1st is because New York State has a quarterly sales tax period. So June 1st is the next period that's going to be available to be open. So what this will do will cap the Dutchess County sales tax at 8 cents a gallon. Currently, the county receives about 16 cents a gallon based upon the current pricing. So this is going to be about $1.4 million tax relief in the form of a reduction of the sales tax on fuel. I also wanted to bring and remind the town board that the MIG grants are due May 4th. May 4th, as well as the fire department grants. So the fire department now can file a grant within the same program. The first round closes on May 4th. As I discussed last month when I was here, the allotment of the community development block grants has already been determined for the fiscal year. The federal government runs on a September to August fiscal year, but the county at that time still felt that there was going to be another allocation of community development block grant monies as well. So that may be another opportunity for the town to participate in. And again, both Legislator Houston and I would be more than happy to assist the town or the fire department. I know there's nobody here for them. I don't know if anybody from the fire department's here, but we've been speaking to them as well too. And then the last thing that I wanted to speak to, well, I got two more things actually, if I'm allowed. Currently, the homeless shelter is housed at the pods at the old county jail. Those pods are going to have to be dismantled and relocated. Well, actually, they've met their useful life. This was all done because of social distancing. The county had that availability space, and the county is currently in the process of finalizing an offer to get a permanent shelter within the city of Poughkeepsie nearby to where the one currently is, so that the clients will be able to utilize county services, mental health, and other services to be available. That was on discussion for last month, and it's going to come back next month. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Yeah. The county is going to celebrate Earth Day and the 52nd Annual Earth Day. So some of the county items that are going to be done is the DPW Highway Construction Maintenance Division is going to be doing roadway cleanup from Wednesday through Friday of this week. And then again, next week on the 25th and 26th. There's going to be the availability at the Solid Waste Management is going to hold a Microsoft Teams meeting to assist people about proper recycling, disposal of household items. And then on Saturday, I know the town has something planned. I certainly don't want to jump on that because we're very excited about that as well. But on Saturday, from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at Dutchess Stadium, DPW staff will assist Habitat for Humanity with its second annual countywide donation day. So I know it's, kind of a drive from here down to Fishkill. But that park is going to be one of the several collection sites through the county. There are other sites that are going to be there, and additional information is available at habitatforduchess.org. So that's really about all I have. I will now turn it over to Legislator Houston.
Thank you. I just have two things for you tonight. As Legislator Stagliano and I reported, after we received the first tranche of the ARP funds from the county, we had set aside $12.5 million to be used for Dutchess Stadium, which is a county park. And portion of the funds were to purchase the property that Dutchess Stadium was on because the county didn't own that property. And the remaining $9 million was going to be used for stadium upgrades, investing in one of our county parks. The $3.5 million was spent on purchasing the property, and then we went out for bid on the stadium upgrades, and the bids have come back, and due to inflation and rising construction costs, the numbers were out of whack for the county. So the county has decided to go back to the Renegade owners and reassess the situation with the construction. So that $9 million that was set aside for stadium upgrades is now going to be put back and relooked at for housing needs throughout the county. So the county will develop a plan, and we will come back to you and let you know where that $9 million of ARP funding is going to go. But right now, that's on pause. And I'm speaking last because I want to talk about the good news about Camp New Teaming. I know that all you guys know, but it's important to know that at our Monday night meeting last Monday, the legislature did approve the purchasing of Camp New Teaming. So the county will be the purchaser. The property was assessed at over $5 million, and the county purchased, it was the high bidder, at $4 million. We have then spent another $200,000 to purchase the furniture, the fixtures, and the equipment, and another $600,000 to make Camp New Teaming ADA compliant for the county standards. So we have put out a total of $4.8 million for Camp New Teaming, and we are very proud to be able to do that because it will give county residents, more specifically county youth, priority in using Camp New Teaming, which of course if the county didn't get it, we don't know what would have happened to it, and it was really important for us that the county residents be able to use it. Camp New Teaming is an important place. It's important to Pleasant Valley and important to many Scout families countywide who have used it for years and years and years, and many great experiences were had there. So we are very happy to say that Scouting will still be able to happen at Camp New Teaming. Legislator Sagliano and I, when we voted on it, we spoke on record on the floor of the legislature, and we both said we will be advocating hard for Pleasant Valley youth to have some priority using it. And so I can promise you we will continue to do that. Of course, all Dutchess County youth will have an opportunity and will be prioritized, but we're looking for a special carve out for Pleasant Valley. So we're looking forward to working with the town board on a way we can move forward with that. And I know there were some concerns, and one of the council persons reached out to me and to Legislator Sagliano, who was great and made a few phone calls. And we are happy to tell you that with the county executive's office, we will be having here at the town hall on Tuesday, June 14th at 5:30 p.m. a town hall meeting. It will partially be about the county budget, and more specifically questions. We'll do a presentation on Camp New Teaming with the county executive's office, and we'll have a town hall forum where people can ask questions about Camp New Teaming to get more clarity. So I think it's really good news for Pleasant Valley, and put it on your calendar, Tuesday, June 14th.
June 14th, 5:30.
And, you know, I know that we've spoken about getting a tour of Camp New Teaming, and so, you know, if Legislator Sagliano or I can help you again in reaching out to get that done, please let us know. Have any questions for me?
I do, just for clarification, and not in going into much detail, there were other bidders on that property, correct?
There were.
All right, okay. Yeah,
So, yeah, we were the high bidder.
okay.
Great. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Yep.
Both Don Sagliano and Deirdre Houston, legislators. Okay. So we have a report on the Warrior Wagon letter. Mary Beth, you going to handle that?
So good evening, everyone. When I gave my town clerk's report on September 13, 2021, I had mentioned the devastating loss of 11 Marines, 1 sailor, and 1 soldier who were among the victims of a suicide bombing at Afghanistan's Kabul airport on August 26, 2021, which also claimed the lives of more than 160 Afghans. Working with Mr. Frank Costello Sr. and his Warrior Wagon recognition project, he and his team developed this wonderful idea to honor these brave men and women. In my office, there was a letter for anyone who would like to sign it, which would be sent to the 13 military families, along with a Warrior Wagon recognition medallion, whose child gave the ultimate sacrifice for our freedom. As a town, we showed our appreciation and gratitude by having our residents come in and sign this letter, which will be part of the memories these military families will have of their loved ones and hold it close to their heart. It is with great appreciation my staff and I say thank you to all who signed. There is a quote which says, "America without her soldiers would be like God without his angels. There is nothing noble than risking your life for your country. I have long believed that sacrifice is the pinnacle of patriotism. This nation will remain the land of the free only so long as it is the home of the brave." I am honored to be asked by Mr. Frank Costello to read the letter he is sending to these military families, along with his Warrior Wagon recognition medal. Dear families of Marine Corps Lance Corporal David Espinoza, Marine Corps Sergeant Nicole L. Gee, Marine Corps Staff Sergeant Darren T. Hoover, Army Staff Sergeant Ryan C. Claus, Marine Corps Corporal Hunter Lopez, Marine Corps Lance Corporal Riley A. McCollum, Marine Corps Lance Corporal Dylan R. Marola, Marine Corps Lance Corporal Kareem Nicoli, Marine Corps Sergeant Johnny Rosso Picararo, Marine Corps Corporal Humberto Sanchez, Marine Corps Lance Corporal Jared Schmidt, Navy Hospital Corpsman Maxton Sovics, Marine Corps Colonel Diegan Page. Please accept the enclosed Warrior Wagon medallion as a small token of appreciation from myself and over 600 residents of the Hudson Valley in the state of New York. We have all signed a pledge honoring your loved ones with a promise to never forget your family member or you, and all that you have given for the United States of America and its citizens. This medallion is given to service members and veterans in recognition, ceremonies to thank, honor, and recognize all of them for their service and sacrifice made to keep us all safe and uphold our freedoms. The Warrior Wagon Recognition Project and our crew are committed to honor and to all those who gave themselves so selfishly. We want to generally thank you and your family members for giving the ultimate sacrifice. Respectfully, Frank M. Costello Sr., Warrior Wagon Recognition Project. Thank you, Frank, for continuing to honor our military veterans and their families. Your devotion, time, and dedication is humbling, and we are internally grateful. Thank you to GE Maston Feeds and the Cady family, who also collected signatures for our heroes. So we've over 600 signatures.
Wow.
So it's a real honor, and thank you to all the residents who came out. We had about 200 residents who signed. So thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
And please extend the thank you to Frank as well. Okay, for the first time, as far as I can remember, or maybe in history of our town, I don't know, but we're going to have actual, this will be the first quarterly report from each department, and the first person up is our assessor, Garth Slocum. Garth, yes, sir? Did you have these before when you were born?
Yes, we did.
Oh.
Supervisor, go back here. Is the meeting being live streamed?
There's audio, no video.
No video, we have audio. We're still having issues with it,
They should be able to hear us, but they can't see us, so.
which is actually better.
I was
You
told,
know,
we all know
Just,
it's
we
great.
we should have a radio show now. I think we could,
Yeah, because the supervisor's very ugly.
thank you very much.
Sorry to interrupt.
That's quite all right. So we digress. Our assessor report. Garth, it's all yours.
Okay. Assessor reports tend to be repetitive, but since I guess no one's heard one for a while, that'll be okay. Over the last quarter, mostly what we are doing is accepting the enhanced star exemptions. There was quite an uptick on them because the state had sent out a publicity campaign trying to get people who didn't have them to get them. That, and they decided to change the methodology for the trailer parks. So for the mobile home residents who live in the parks, unfortunately, they're going through a terrible time, but they are weeding through and we're getting them on there. March 1st was the deadline, so everybody's come in. We had a few misses, we always do, but Maureen helped chase down a lot of the people, and we've got, I think, most of the ones who are missing documents and things. I would point out one thing, the seniors who missed the deadline for March 1st to apply for star exemptions, they can still apply for what they call star credit, as far as I'm aware. The state of New York runs that. They go on to the Department of Taxation and Finance site, or they give us a call and we'll give them the phone number if they can do a phone call instead. Because their deadline's different. The only problem, of course, is that your taxes go up when you receive the bill, because the exemption, you have to give up your basic exemption. And then they send you a credit check instead, which is actually more, but you still have to put the money up front sometimes. Because there's no telling with the state of New York if it's gonna come a few weeks before the bill is due, or if it's gonna come a few weeks after the bill is due. We are continuing an ongoing process of reviewing incoming sales. We're making changes to the assessments based on inventory changes that we become aware of through the building permits or through whatever way. Sometimes people tell us, sometimes we see them on Zillow, but if we see significant changes, we have to make adjustments to the roll, and we do that. We continue, as always, to take routine calls and inquiries. Most of them have to do about exemptions for new buyers, what's gonna happen, are they gonna have to pay money back, et cetera. What are the taxes without those exemptions? And You asked me, John, just to explain sometimes how that happens, assessment changes. Usually what happens with assessments, we can do a townwide revow, and we haven't done that in a few years. And that, of course, everybody goes up. Usually, I mean, unless the market's declining, which it did back in 2012, 2013. But for the most part, the values tend to go up. It doesn't mean, of course, your taxes are going up because, you know, we have a fixed budget. You know, we need, say, $1 million. If we have $1 billion, the rate is X. If we have $2 billion of assessed value, it's half of the X. Okay, it's basically a zero-sum game. It doesn't always happen the same. That's what always confuses people. They think, well, you know, my neighbor only went up 2%, the guy over in whatever, road, their neighborhood only went up 2%, how come mine is up 10? Or my neighbor's house went up 3, I only went up 1, what, you know. But markets affect everything different. Different neighborhoods, different price properties, different style properties. You know, things like split levels and raised ranches at one time were very popular. They would rise quickly. Nowadays are not quite as in fashion, so they may go up 3 or 4%. The 1970s contemporaries, which at one time were very hot, people don't like them as much, maybe, so they may go up 4%. Colonials will go up a different rate, so it's never the same. It's not that we're just raising everybody straight across the board by 2 or 3. But most of the changes we have now tend to be the property isn't what we thought it was. We thought there was no pool, we find out there's a gunite pool. We thought there was a vinyl pool, we find out it's a heated gunite pool. Some changes aren't very significant, some do make a difference in valuation, so when they show up, we have to make adjustments to the assessed values. And a lot of the reason we catch that is because all sales have to be reviewed to see if they're valid. And you always wonder if you're at, say, 100%, why something you thought was worth 100,000 sold for 200,000. And a lot of times when you look, you realize that's because you have missed many, many things that the house had, which gets people a little upset, unfortunately, because, you know. But I always do warn anybody who calls up when I look at the listing prices that, you know, we didn't realize you had 2 bathrooms or that your basement had been finished and the rest of it. So the ones that call, not so much a surprise. The ones who don't call, it's a very nasty surprise, unfortunately, but I have to do what I have to do, so. And that is the monthly report, sir.
Thank you very much, sir.
Ma'ams.
Appreciate you coming out. And just to note, Garth lives very far away. That'd be great. Thank you.
Have a nice night.
Thank you, sir. Next up is Building, Planning, and Zoning Report. Sarah Davis.
Hi. Thank you for having me this evening. Let me know if you can't hear me, because that's a big complaint I get. So, and I'm very nervous, and I stutter.
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
Shut up.
Take a deep breath. You got this.
Okay. We issued 86 building permits in the period January through March. Basically renovations. We did 2 new homes, roofs. Everybody's fixing up stuff, not really moving and buying new things. We did change of occupancies and some signs. Out of the 86 building permits, 9 already have a certificate of compliance, 13 have the COs, and 67 are still open. We did 60 building inspections in that quarter. 51 passed, 1 closed, 6 failed, 2 remain open. Mostly they were third-party inspections this last quarter. We do municipal searches. We've done 38 of them in the last quarter. They take anywhere from a half hour to hours, depending on what the property is and what the condition of the property is. We typically have a 2-week turnaround on our searches, and our clients tell us that's a great amount of time. Everybody else is a little slower. We do freedom of information requests. They come to us from the town clerk's office. We had 26 in the last 3 months. They range from copying 1 or 2 documents to having to go out to the printer and get documents reproduced. We do charge what it costs to reproduce. We charge the client, And then after that, it's 25 cents per page for a copy. And this quarter, we made 3 trips to the printer. Escrow accounts, I don't know, everybody who comes to planning board, zoning board, or town board leaves an escrow account. Since 2017, we had over 70 accounts open. We did not have that many applicants. Our office has worked diligently to get these escrow accounts settled. Chris Ann has worked diligently, and we have returned $14,965. Chris Ann and Courtney also provide notary services to the public, and them and I take continuing education courses whenever we can. One of the big things people seem to think we do is complaints, which we do. We do snow removal on sidewalks. I got a lot of complaints this year. We get nuisance complaints, noise complaints, neighbors not caring for their property, neighbors running a business, neighbor doesn't have a building permit, neighbor's dog barks too much, all kinds of things. We continuously answer questions all day. The phone rings from a myriad of questions. How big can my shed be? Can I subdivide my property? That's about it. The planning board has done a couple change of uses, and they did 2 subdivisions, minor subdivisions. Really, they were lot line adjustments. Pretty much they just moved the line over. You weren't making any more new lots. And some sign reviews. And the zoning board did their setback variances for renovations, and they had a couple applications for garages and sheds in front of their buildings. That's it.
Excellent. Thank you very, very much for your time. I didn't hear a stutter. What do you mean you stutter? You're fine. Excellent job. Okay, highway report. Where is he? Where's John? Oh, he's hiding in the corner. Our highway superintendent, John Baxter.
I'm shy and bashful, so I like to be in the corner.
Yeah, you're shy and bashful.
How are we doing this evening? Thank you for allowing me a few minutes of your time. I'll try to keep this as short and sweet as possible. So far, we've had 20 named storms this year in the winter months, and I'll say the winter months because it doesn't seem like it's over yet. 9 of them have had significant impact on our town, specifically with heavy snow, ice. Anybody who drove through the town hall last weekend saw the surfing we had in the backyard over here was fairly deep. We've had that twice so far this year. Hopefully, we won't see it again tonight. So that being said, our guys have clocked in, as of right now, a little over 100 hours of overtime per person, to keep our streets clean. We've used approximately 2,085 tons of salt and around 800 tons of sand. Together, comes to just shy of $140,000 between the two. Keep our roads clean, snow and ice. We repaired our last 2 dirt roads that we have in our town, Baord and Clinton, which between the two, a little over 2 miles of roads. We've been up there 3 times so far this year. The guys are up there now. They're on week 2 and trying to get those roads back in shape. We've had a ton of water this year and a ton of ice, and they've just did a lot of damage to our roads this year. If you look around the county, everybody's in the same boat. I don't think there's a road out there this year that doesn't have a pothole in it somewhere. We really took a hammering. Our equipment repairs, we're just shy of $24,000 in our equipment repairs. Again, we take a beating in the wintertime. 90% of our equipment repairs are winter related, because nothing breaks when it's 75 and sunny out. It always breaks when it's 25 below zero and snowing or freezing rain or, take your pick. Finally, as of this past September, our new fuel depot is fully up and running for the fire department, the town, the highway department, the Recs department. The old depot finally has been completely removed, so that is no longer there, and that permit's been closed out with the DEC, so we no longer have 2 open permits with the DEC, which can pose a problem. Started our road sweeping at the end of March, the 20th of March. We started our road sweeping. That's going to go on for probably got about another 2 weeks before we're caught up where we be if Mother Nature's nice. It's hard to sweep when it's raining because it just turns into mud and the machine really doesn't pick up that well. Spring cleanup, road repairs, trees, branches, culverts that are clogged. Thanks to Mr. Veter, saw the overseeing of clearing one of our culverts up on Fox Run that we hadn't had a chance to get to yet. And we're going to start paving in June. Hopefully, we're waiting to see the CHIPS money. Of course, we have to wait for the state to come and tell us how much they're going to give us before we can decide what we're going to pave. And I'm trying to get on the calendar right now with Peckham to get our roads paved in June. I'd like to congratulate Jim Call, who retired as of April 1st from the Highway Department. So congratulations to him. We had an open spot in which I hired Kenny Hinch. He started January 3rd. And Steve Scaramella, who also just started April 4th. Also, he filled the spot that Jimmy Call left open. I just got my first order of signs. Last board meeting, we spoke about the replacing of our street signs. So I got the 4 corner signs that have been missing for Creek, Scout, Pine Hill. So, Councilman, you'll see those signs going up in the next 2 weeks or so. You'll know which.
Instead of the one that's only 2 feet tall?
Yeah, the one that they keep stealing the one sign. I don't know why, but somebody keeps stealing the one sign and the post. So they're putting some effort into it. I got to give them an A+ for that. Let's see, I made a couple other notes on here as we were going along. Second week. Oh, no, I guess I got it. Oh, yeah. They named the permits. I've done 4 driveway permits so far this year that are still open. We still have a bunch that are open. People are still doing work. So, but that being said, that's my report so far.
I have just 2 questions for you real
Sure.
quickly, just because you brought them up.
Yep.
One, when about do you start the paving, the filling the potholes and stuff like that? Because a few people have asked me that.
Well, the guys are out there now. If somebody calls and complains and there's a big pothole, then we'll get on it right away. Otherwise, we kind of start with our worst roads first, which are always, unfortunately, Ward and Clinton, because they're dirt. So they take the worst beating in the wintertime. So the guys are up there now with the grader and the backhoe and the loader getting those, squared away. If somebody calls and complains, says, I got a big pothole in front of my house, we'll get out there straight away and get it filled. Once they're done up there, probably by the end of this week, then we'll be out, with the blacktop and the trucks, and you'll see the guys, walking up and down the streets with the shovels and the roller, filling the potholes. And then, like I said, in June, we'll hopefully be able to pave a few roads in June. And once I find out how much we're going to get from the state, rumor has it we're going to get a little more this year than we got last year. So that being said, if that's the case, then I'll let everybody know what we're going to pave and when.
And the other one's not a question, it's just more of a thank you and a statement. John has been willing to give his crew when needed for rec and a few other things as well. For instance, we just had the flood, and that brought all of the silt onto our driveway. He brings down it's not part of the roads, but he comes down with the sweeper and sweeps it and gets it done when it's ready. We recently had some Little League dirt that needed to be transferred. He's willing to send his guys to do that. And I think that's a great part of being part of the community as well.
Absolutely.
And it's excellent. We appreciate all your help.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Aside from all the other things they do that as well.
Yeah, my guys are great. And I think anybody who has told me what a great job I'm doing will understand when I tell them, don't pat me on the back, go find the guys with the orange shirts out on the highway and tell them they're doing a good job, because they really do make me look good every day. So they make my job easy. That being said, if it's okay, I'd love to stay for tonight, but I got 1.5 inches of rain coming. I'm got to go make sure we're good
sure
for
it's
that.
rain, right?
So far so good. I'm going to give it one of those, and we seem to be pretty below that nasty word line, so hopefully we stay there. Thank you.
Yeah, now that we've had the sweepers come out and, yeah.
Thank you, John. Recreation report. Danielle, I guess you're taking Sandra's place tonight, huh? Okay.
This is from Sandra. She would like to thank the town board and the public for the opportunity to discuss our Pleasant Valley recreation programs and department status. Bauer Park field maintenance. This project was coordinated effort between the towns of Pleasant Valley and East Fishkill. Aerating and seeding of the fields was completed on Saturday, March 26th. It's been great grass growing weather since. Many thanks to Butch Kidney, who is the East Fishkill Field Maintenance Department, and he's also a Pleasant Valley resident, who volunteered his time to do valuable work. I also would like to thank Supervisors Nicholas D. Alessandro of East Fishkill and John Del Vecchio for agreeing to do this project. Last but not least, many thanks goes to Highway Department Superintendents Kenneth Williams of East Fishkill and for the use of his equipment, and John Baxter for his equipment and staff in getting this much needed project completed. These fields have never been aerated and reseeded. Our soccer families will be thrilled when they start using them in the fall. West Road Soccer Baseball Field Maintenance. I am pleased to say once again that our Pleasant Valley Highway Department Superintendent John Baxter has come to the rescue and saved the town $4,000 by having his crew move infield dirt, as you said, to West Road for the Pleasant Valley Little League, use of refurbishing some of the fields. Supervisor Del Vecchio and I have been meeting with Arlington Central School District regarding field accessibility. We will be entering the fields for lawn care through Redall Park. I also had an on-site meeting with Arlington Central Schools last week, and we are working on an aggressive maintenance schedule they will perform for the fields, dugouts, etc. this year. Helen Aldridge Park, the resurfacing of the tennis courts will be accomplished by the summer. This will include new pickleball court within the tennis court. We are excited to offer this new activity just in time for the warm weather. The work for the completion of the excavation project will be determined this evening. This not only opens up the basketball court to much needed sunlight and airflow, but we gain 1/8 of an acre of usable land. In this land, we plan to have a new Gaga pit in the summer, next summer. Until then, the Gaga pit will be located near the pavilion. The remainder of the park porta-johns will be delivered this week to Helen Aldridge, which happened already, and to Katie Field. Currently, soccer registration is now on a wait list based on team availability. This is the largest, thank you, Tracy, largest number of spring registrants ever, thanks to our soccer director, Tracy Santiago's hard work and dedication, and of course to all of our coaches. Without the dedication and hours of work both Tracy and our coaches provide, we would not have a thriving soccer program. Soccer Tot registration is still open, but is limited registration, so do not wait to enroll to have your child's spot. Registration is ongoing for Camp Sunny Days, Junior Leader Project for Camp Sunny Days, Junior CIT program, basketball camp, soccer camp, and summer hoops. Spring basketball. Unfortunately, our spring indoor program has been canceled due to gym availability logistics. I'm working with Arlington Central School Districts and BOCES regarding gym usage. Everything should be in place for the 2022-23 basketball season. Registration will start late summer. The annual egg hunt was a success. It was held at the West Road Fields on Sunday, April 10th, to a large crowd of excited children and parents. Many thanks to our volunteers, Angel Abreu, Nick Witten, Tracy and Steven Santiago, Maura Spagnoli, and Councilwoman Albrecht. It was a fun day. Senior trip. The Bermuda Avenue Triangle of Silver Birches on April 27th was canceled by Silver Birches. Our senior coordinator, Lisa Aravena, was able to reschedule another trip, a replacement trip, at Villa Roma, Jersey Boys, a tribute to Frankie Valli. Please contact Lisa at 845-505-6274 if she hasn't already contacted you if you're interested for the Silver Birches. Earth Day is this Saturday, April 23rd, rain or shine. Registration starts at 8:30 at the Pleasant Valley Town Hall. For more information, please contact Councilwoman Albrecht. Huck Finn Weekend is also this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, April 23rd and 24th. It is held at the Pleasant Valley Trout and Game Club. To all of our young fishermen up to 15 years of age are invited to attend. Seasonal employment. We have openings for an assistant camp director, arts and crafts director, and counselors. Applications are available on our website. New news. I'm currently working with the Anderson School to coordinate their community involvement with helping to maintain the Mill Street Park Gardens. I was just contacted by NABA, Northeastern Association of the Blind in Albany, in regarding to their work experience training program. They want to establish an internship program with a young fellow Pleasant Valley resident for the summer. I will present more information at our May workshop. Please visit our website at pvrec.com for updates and all of our programs. Thank you.
Nicely done. Thank you.
Just to add a little clarification for the work at Bauer, I went down to take a look. It looks awesome. It's like flat as it looks great. And thank you to Butch. That was awesome that he came and did that for us.
Yep.
For those that don't know, Bauer is a park that I've coached soccer in for quite a few years now, and as you ran down the field, it was just uneven enough that you'd trip, and it really needed the work, and it looks fantastic. So
That's good. Okay, moving right along, our town clerk report. Again, 3 times for Mary Beth. But I told you by this part you'd be more relaxed and you'd be fine, right?
Okay, so my report goes from January 1st, 2022 to March 31st, 2022. So we did 242 dog license renewals, 1 dog seizure, 6 marriage licenses, 25 marriage transcripts, which are copies, 40 death transcripts, 20 fishing licenses, 1 peddler's permit. Total monies paid to the supervisor was $4,199.93. Total monies to New York State was $1,190.07. The next is refuse. Please note these amounts just reflect the income received from refuse ticket sales. This does not include any expenses the transfer station has incurred. In January, we took in $6,320. February, $5,171. March, $4,357 for a total of $15,888. Total warrant paid to the supervisor in February of 22 was this is taxes, excuse me. Total warrant paid to the supervisor February 2022 was $4,739,967.80. Total taxes collected to date are 3,221 parcels, which totaled $8,066,915.55. Total taxes uncollected to date are 185 parcels, which comes to the amount of $821,121.04. Total money paid to the Dutchess County Commissioner of Finance so far is $2.8 million. We entered into the 3% penalty phase starting April 1st through April 30th. May 1st, second notices go out, and then we enter into the 4% penalty phase. Last day of tax collection is May 31st, 2022, but postmark is still accepted. We did 34 handicap tags. Since my last report, along with the Building and Planning and Zoning Department, we have completed 30 foils altogether, and there is 1 still pending. I'm pleased to announce my office was notified from the DEC last week that we came in 8th place in New York State for our sales of the 2021 Habitat stamp. We were among the top 10 sellers. As of 2021 was a financial challenge for many because of the COVID-19. Hunters and fishermen still purchase them. My office placed 3rd in the sales in 2019, 4th in sales in 2020. All 3 times we have stayed the #1 seller in Dutchess County. Many people ask, what is a Habitat stamp? A Habitat stamp was created in 2002 by the legislation. The Habitat and Access stamp helps supply financial support towards the department's efforts in improving and conserving fish and wildlife habitat, as well as increasing access to public and private lands for fish and wildlife recreation. Big shout out to my staff, Kathy and Jen. We all worked as a team and got our town recognized for the 3rd time in a row. Just a quick note, Supervisor Delvecchio, the town clerk's office, and the Building, Planning, and Zoning Department have met with our bank. We are working to establish credit cards to be accepted in both of our offices and at the transfer station. As this is a process, we are hoping to have credit card acceptance within the next few months. This will also include the start of the 2023 property tax collection. Thank you to the town board for supporting us in this. I just want to say I'm very proud of my deputies and my office. We strive to give back to the community every day, and I'm truly blessed to have a great staff. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. I got good news and I got bad news. What do you want first? No news. Why do you want bad news first?
Give them the bad news first so you can give them the good to make them feel better.
Okay, I'll start with the bad news. Why not? You asked for it, you got it. This is just a few things that need fixing around town. The gazebo and the mill site is a mess, but we're working on getting that fixed before the Memorial Day ceremony, so that's in the works. The Eternal Flame Garden, also a mess, being worked on to get fixed. Lights at Katie Field, some of them are out, some of them need fixing. The electric box at Katie Field, that green box that houses all of our electricity, needs to be fixed. It was underwater yet again. Okay? The parking lot at Katie Field still harbors probably a small pond most of the time. Every time it rains, even just lightly, that needs to be resurfaced and drained out. That has to be taken care of, especially since we're going to be putting basketball courts down there, I believe, soon. So that it's better to have basketball without water. The lights at Helen Aldridge point in 65 different directions. We can actually land planes at Helen Aldridge Park with the lights going up into the air, so that has to be redone. Benches, picnic tables, we only have 4 left. We used to have a ton of picnic tables. They're all destroyed or pretty much gone down the river, whatever. Last year when we had the bicentennial, we had to actually borrow picnic tables from the Polish club, what's that one up in the Hibernia? Pavonia Pavilion, yes. They lent us the picnic tables, so. And then there's the real bad news, and this is something that's, we've been working on myself. I've been in concert with Councilman Albrecht. Haven't really had too much time to fill in the rest of the board. So there's a possibility that down the line, we may have to consider different ways of getting ambulance service to our town. It's a known problem from all the council people here. Everyone on the board knows this problem, but it might be coming to more fruition than we once thought. This morning I had a meeting with the manager from Mobile Life. He assured me that they weren't going anywhere. However, it's a very real possibility that may change. They were working after COVID at a $200,000 a month deficit when COVID first started, and that went that way for quite some time. They said they've closed that gap. They're still working at a deficit, and they're still getting subsidized somehow through monies through the state, so they're surviving. So we have to look at this and be more proactive than reactive. So I've already had a meeting at one time with the fire council and the chief, and kind of put it in their head that we should really have a serious conversation with them, our town board, and possibly even the Dutchess County emergency. Emergency response. So that's coming down the pike. We need to be proactive on it. It's not great news. It's not horrible news just yet, but it might be something we need to really start digging into and planning. Hopefully it doesn't happen, but I don't like to wait for hope. That's the bad news. Now the good news. Good news, since January 1st, we now have department head meetings Each one of those folks that you just saw came up here and gave their quarterly report. We meet once a month. We discuss how we're working together, how each department can help one another, and we've incorporated a staying in our lane working relationship. In other words, nobody's doing someone else's job. There was a lot of crossing over, helping when didn't need to happen. So that's been working out really, really well for all of us. Now you see the quarterly reports from all of our departments, and it's not just from Rec and from the town clerk office, it's from all the departments. We have created subcommittees. Our town board has created subcommittees, and all the subcommittees are working very hard on their projects, and we will be having subcommittee reports shortly. We have identified safety issues that needed to be addressed. We now have LED lighting around the town, hall, just climate smart, with motion detectors. We will soon have security cameras. That's already been taken care of. They're just waiting for parts to come in, around and inside the building. And on April 29th, we'll be conducting our first Aed drills, our CPR training, and active shooter training, things that have never happened. We also will be conducting first ever fire drill. Our town has never had a fire drill. We are surrounded by fire people, and we have never had one. We're going to have one now. We are now working at a near 100%, all positions filled. We're still looking for a fire inspector, although with the caveat that the new building inspector we just hired does have some fire background and can do some of it. So the overall working relationships in Town Hall, I consider, is very good. And I got to tell you, I really want to extend a special thanks to each and every one of the departments for giving me their utmost and best. And we put away all different types of animosities or whatever, and working very well together. So it's really a pleasure to come to work. Financially, we're in excellent shape. I don't want to go into numbers because it can take 3 hours to explain it all. But I'll give you some highlights. We're in the process of deciding what to do with money received from ARPA, which is the COVID return money from COVID. We had a bit of a windfall with our sales tax. We anticipated collecting only about $150,000 in sales tax, and it was way more than that. So that's good. And we are in the process of applying for the MIG grant. And these monies can be used to go right back into the community, some fashion, some way, shape, or form, whether it be fixing some of the mentioned things that I mentioned as bad news, or some of the things that we're working on currently. My office has been in correspondence with the state troopers for all the speeding that's been going on. They have agreed to, starting in May, that they're going to be watching 44 corridor very closely between the bridge and Rossway Road, as well as North Avenue and all the trucks. I've been in contact with the DEC, basically for the bagged soil that was over here by the electric company substation. They were bagging all kinds of soil. I wanted to know if it was contaminated. Still waiting for a full report to come back. We've had Spectrum. We're in contract negotiations with them currently. Our town attorney is working on that. Myself and Councilman O'Hanlon had recently had a meeting with the DOT about the conditions of our roads. I don't want to give away all the information on that because we're going to have a subcommittee report, and that'll be full and explain all of the roads and where we are with them, what they're going to do, and when they're going to do it. I just told you about the fire department and the ambulance situation. Met with the Climate Smart folks, and we're working into agreement with them. We've had a meeting for the Rettle Park development, and we're going to be having another one on May 9th. We've met with CPL for the new town hall, and where we are with that is the concept plan is being drawn, and we go to architectural plans, and then we go into possibly deciding which way we want to go, and then it becomes demo time. We also been working with CPL. Myself and Councilwoman Albrecht have been working on the project for town water. Many meetings with CPL at that. I've met with Little League, West Road Schools, and the school district, which was fun. By the way, Frank, I don't ever want to do that again.
I sat to the first one, better you than me.
Not nice.
I know.
We have survived a COVID variant resurge. We've survived the gas hike. We've survived yet another flood and a power outage caused by a squirrel. I've had more than 300 different visitors to my office since January. I started counting after day 2, so I left out 2 days. And I've already given you bad news, and that's all I have. So, I want to thank all of our department heads, and I want to thank our town board members and on their subcommittees, and a lot of good work is being done. Very proud of everybody. Okay, at this point in time, we'd like to open the meeting to the public for agenda items only. Not to go into our reports. Our reports are reports, and our department heads have left, so they can't answer any questions. So it'll be only the agenda items from this point on.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
I'll say, okay.
I'll make a motion to
I'll
open
second.
it up to the public.
I'll
Frank
second that.
seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody? Agenda items.
I'm still confused over this. Can you open it to new items too?
That's later. So right now, we're talking about the agenda, and at the very end, because all this will conclude almost a whole month's worth of work, then we go to the new items at the end.
Okay. Basically, I'm sorry that the whole Smith family left, because I want to tell you, going back many years when I was here active, etc., those people worked quietly, efficiently, and without any complaint at all. They're two amazing people. I used them. I sent people to them. And the people I sent called me back and said they couldn't believe how well they were treated, etc. So I think that award, and particularly the research of our town clerk, that told me a lot of things I didn't know. But I think it was very well deserved, and it's good to recognize people that do that kind of work. It really is. Now I can't remember what the agenda items were, so. There weren't many.
No, we're pretty much, a lot of this is old business, finishing
Yeah.
for the most part.
I think that's it for now on, though.
Thank you. Anyone else? Agenda items only.
Mary Meyer, Clark Heights again. Just regarding your supervisor summary. So we're already in contract negotiations with Spectrum.
No. Oh, yes, we are. We're actually in
So we're not,
negotiations.
I know that we were gonna try to look at somebody else. That's not happening? We're not gonna look at somebody other than Spectrum?
So, you want to handle that? Do you want to explain how this works? They have a contract for what they're actually servicing now. Okay, so it's not like we can go into a negotiation with another company and say, Spectrum has to leave. We can't do that, okay? What they're servicing now is what we're in contract with, what we're in negotiations anyway, and how that works. So that's what we're
It
negotiating.
seemed like there was a lot of people in this town that does not like Spectrum. That we wanted to see something new. And now
Well,
we're
they can
we're
get
saying-
something new, and here's the point. They're
Okay.
more than welcome to go do that. There's nobody holding anyone to Spectrum's, the contract that we would be going in with is what percentages they would be giving back, almost like a sales tax.
Right.
Is basically it. So they hold the biggest bulk to our town. okay? And that's why we would be going into a contract with them. That's about the best way I can describe
So
it.
for a little clarification, if I may, so signing a franchise agreement with Spectrum doesn't mean that they're the only carrier that will come to town. But what that does mean, in my mind, is that no one else would want to come to town.
Well, that's, I mean.
Right,
I mean,
so I understand where you're I understand what your complaint is, and
Spectrum
I've-
is on our street. We know how wonderful they are.
Oh, it's
so-
great. So,
And they're our only option. So that's why
Yeah.
I'm bringing it up, that nothing else was looked into, or what else can be done for the town of Pleasant Valley besides Spectrum, I guess.
Well, Mary, I asked this question specifically of our attorneys, in that could another contractor or provider come in? Yes, they could, but they would have to bring in their own infrastructure and lay it all in place, and unless they're willing to spend the money to do that, it's not going to happen, and unfortunately, that's
Gotcha.
a great big pile of money, and you know where I'm going here, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Rolando Ghedini, Arbor Hill Drive. I thought that this was for agenda item only. We have two people here who don't speak about it. So why don't you keep the schedule correct?
What was the, I thought they weren't?
They were.
I thought so.
Well, these are agenda items, right?
Well, yeah, you're right. You're 100% right. Technically, that was in the report,
Yeah.
but that's fine.
Well, it's
That's
still
fine.
an agenda item.
It's still on the agenda,
Yeah.
technically, that's fine. We're okay. Anyone else? Without hearing any others, I move to close the meeting to the public on agenda items.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
At this point, I would like to make one little adjustment to, let's just go through our stuff real fast, and then I'll make that adjustment. I want to move the Climate Smart to the top, because we have a lot of our Climate Smart folks here, and we have Brad is sitting here patiently as well. So when we get to that, I want to move that up. So, old business discussion, rules to the town board. I know I've made my changes to the rules. Anyone else? Anything stands
I saw
out?
your changes. I was away on for the first time in however many years. I took a vacation. I was gonna email my changes over tomorrow.
So seeing that we don't.
Knowing that he's not here and Mary's not
Right,
here, we were
let's
gonna make
table it,
tonight,
we'll table it
so-
one more time, that's fine.
Yeah.
All agreed?
Agreed.
Agreed to table? Thank you. Kirchhoff rezoning application, we're still in holding unless you have anything to add?
If you don't mind,
Go
yeah.
right ahead.
So where we are with that is, we received a letter that wasn't really a full application, a letter, and we had a presentation a while ago. And we did have an internal meeting to figure out how to properly proceed with that, to make sure it's efficient both for the applicant and the town board, because it's a little unusual to do a rezoning when it's not directly connected with a application. So we came up with a proposed process for that, took it back to the attorney for the applicant. He is generally okay with it, but would like to meet with us to get the specifics on what they need to submit. And so he asked if the board would just agree to have me meet with them and move on with that.
Okay, sounds good.
Great.
Helen Aldridge bathrooms, Danielle, anything you want to add to it, or are we still in holding on that? We'll just get into the next, we'll table that till next time. And then our cleaning service for the town hall, highway bathrooms, and recreation bathrooms, you have the proposals. Right, do you all have those?
Oh, gotcha, okay.
So again, seeing as though we don't have everybody here, I'd like to have everybody to speak about it. So I move that we table it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. No old business other than that. Current business discussions, our 53rd Annual Professional Municipal Clerks Week proclamation between May 2nd and May 8th. Mary Beth, you want to elaborate?
We did this last year, right?
We did this last year, right?
Yeah, I remember doing this last year.
Okay, So I have no problem with that.
Neither do I.
And then also, we are working on the MIG grant. Myself and Emily going to tackle that. I'd like to start tomorrow. I'm going to put a big do not disturb on my door tomorrow, and that's going to be my main focus. All right, with that.
Did you want to ask the board for a?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. I'd like to make a motion to ask the board for permission to go ahead and attain that grant.
Oh, second. Or I'll make a motion, but you're asking permission?
I'm asking permission. So you
Oh,
have
okay, so
permission.
I'll make the motion that we give you the power to go after that MIG grant. You got to second that, Keith?
Oh, I got a second. Oh, okay, I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all right. And that,
Oh, do we have to, for the proclamation, because we're not going to meet before that happens, so we would also have to make a motion. I'll make a motion that we make May 2nd through May 8th Professional Municipal Clerks Week.
I second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. And now I would like to take on current business, I would like to move number 11 to number 1. So we go to authorizing the town supervisor to sign a memorandum of understanding for the Climate Smart Action Planning Institute of Dutchess County.
I think we need to fill in a blank on that resolution.
Okay, let's get to the resolution first. Where is it?
It's near the end.
It's near the end? It's gotta be.
No, I'm sorry.
No, I'm still going. Camp stuff. This is it, right here. All right,
I found it there.
what blank do we need to fill in?
We need to say who is gonna be doing the work. The town has to supply in-kind services, as part of the match for the
Right.
grant. And, we received a commitment from the participant team, so we can say that, we could either name them or we could say members of the CAC and CSC will be, carrying out the work.
Can we just say that?
Yeah.
We're allowed to say that members, whereas the members of the
CAC and CSC.
CAC and CSC? Okay. We'll be planning on carrying out the work, correct?
Yep.
Okay, that was it?
That's it.
All right, so, Town Board Resolution 4012 of 2022, authorizing the town supervisor to sign a memorandum of understanding for the Climate Smart Action Planning Institute of Dutchess County. Whereas Dutchess County, along with several partner municipalities and Hudson Valley Regional Council, made application to the Department of Environmental Conservation's Climate Smart Committee's grant program for the Climate Action Planning Institute, Dutchess County, CAPI Dutchess. And whereas the town of Pleasant Valley joined the project as one of the participating municipalities, and whereas the county was awarded a grant for $99,548 for the CAPI Dutchess, and whereas through the grant, the town of Pleasant Valley and other participating municipalities receive assistance in developing a government operations greenhouse gas emissions inventory and government operations climate action plan. And whereas in-kind services of municipal officials and volunteers will serve as the required match for the grant. And whereas the town board of Pleasant Valley has determined that it is in the best interest of the town to enter into a memorandum of understanding with the county, Hudson Valley Regional Council, and other participating municipalities to implement this CAPI Dutchess project. And whereas town of Pleasant Valley is responsible for supplying in-kind services equal to at least $4,636 provided by town officials and volunteers, whereas members of the CAC and CSC plans to carry out the work associated with this project. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the town supervisor is authorized to sign the memorandum of understanding in the same or substantially in the same form as attached.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
And that'll be signed, and you'll have a copy tomorrow. Okay? Thank you. Thank you all very much. And we go back to number 1. What's good is at the end of all this long thing, we don't have to do one more. Just feels that way, I don't know. Okay. This is the proclamation. We did that already.
Yep.
I should have read that then, right?
Oh, we had one?
Yeah, we have one sitting here.
Oh, did we? Oh, son of
Okay, didn't know
a-
that.
shoot,
Well, we've already passed it. It's all done,
Yeah.
right? Town of Pleasant Valley Town Board Resolution 4002, 2022, authorizing payment of abstract number 4 of 2022. Whereas the Town of Pleasant Valley Town Board has audited the bills presented by the town clerk, and an abstract has been compiled. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board hereby authorizes the Town Supervisor to pay all claims as follows for the year 2022. 1, Abstract 4 of 2022, General Fund Claims, $61,120.48. Abstract 4 of 2022, Highway Fund Claims, $67,467.33. Abstract 4, 2022, Prepaid, $8,217.53. Abstract 4, Streetlights, $4,688.26. Abstract 4, Ambulance Fund, $14,245.80. Abstract 4, Library Fund, $371,250.
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 4003, 2022, authorizing payment of abstract number 4P of 2022. Whereas the Town of Pleasant Valley Town Board has audited the bills presented for the consultant escrow fees as specified by Town Code 82-15, 98-91 by the town clerk, and an abstract has been compiled. Now therefore be it that the Town Board hereby authorizes the Town Supervisor to pay the claims as follows. Abstract 4, Planning and Zoning escrow invoices of $5,893.55. Do I hear a
So
motion?
moved.
So moved.
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 4004. Budget modification for 2022 General Fund. Whereas the Town Board of Pleasant Valley has an expenditure revenue for the 2022 adopted budget line items that will adjust the amounts in such budget lines. And whereas the department head finds it necessary to amend the 2022 adopted budget to meet these adjustments for the senior trip. And resolve, the Town Board of the Town Pleasant Valley hereby authorizes and empowers a direct bookkeeper and a town supervisor to modify the 2022 adopted budget as follows. Appropriation and revenue, account A2089.000, Department Adult Recreation, increase $1,000. Account A7989.302, Department Adult Recreation Expense, $1,000.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board,
So this one, we also need to fill in the blank. We closed the hearing, right? We voted to close the hearing, so
Oh, right, right.
the blank would just be that it was closed on the same night, I can say.
Oh, okay.
closed on, we should say April 18th?
We could say it or just say on the same night, because it says April 18th earlier.
Okay.
Closed, yeah,
Right.
yeah, and closed.
Same.
It's gonna say enclosed on the same night, in the blank, enclosed on the same night.
Okay, resolution adopting the proposed local law of 2022 entitled A Local Law Changing the Residency Requirement for the Office of Deputy Clerk 2. Whereas the town clerk has informed the town board that in order to obtain the best qualified individual or individuals for the deputy town clerk positions for the town of Pleasant Valley, pursuant to the provisions of Town Law 3010A or B, the residency requirements for deputy town clerks should be modified, and whereas the town board has determined that the change in this requirement can be made by a local law in accordance with the authority vested in the town board by 10 of General Municipal Home Rule Law. And whereas the town board has determined that by expanding the residency requirements for certain deputy town clerks, the town clerk or the town board, as the case may be, will have the ability to retain the services of a person or persons who are best qualified to fill those positions. And whereas the attorney and the town has prepared a proposed local law superseding the residency's requirements contained in 23(1) of the town law and 3(1) of public officers law and any applicable local law of the town of Pleasant Valley. And whereas the town has determined that this is a type 2 action under SECRA and does not require an environmental review. And whereas March 22nd, 22, the town board by resolution 3011-2022 commenced the local law adoption process and duly noticed that held a public hearing on said local law on April 4th, 2022. And whereas, as a result of that hearing, the town board recommended changing the proposed law to maintain the existing requirement that the first deputy town clerk may be an elector of the town, but to allow any additional deputy clerks to reside outside the town. And whereas the public hearing on proposed local law A was continued on April 18th, 2022, and closed on the same night. And whereas the town board has determined that the passage of the proposed law and in the form of attached hereto would be in the best interests of the town of Pleasant Valley. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the proposed local law of Law A of 2022 is hereby adopted as local law.
Sorry, I missed that blank.
Ah,
That's
there's a
three,
blank
right?
there.
That's
Three.
Yeah.
3, thank you. Local law number 3 of 2022, and it further be resolved that the town clerk has hereby authorized and directed to file said local law with the Department of State as required by law. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes, actually, Councilman Mazzella actually beat me to the punch. I was thinking it when he said it to make the amendment. I'm comfortable with it. I think it's a really good compromise, and I don't have a problem with the second clerk being a non-resident. I do feel personally that the first clerk, who is kind of looking at if anything, God forbid, happens to the town clerk, has to step into that seat, that first deputy should be a resident.
Yes, Frank, it was very Solomon-esque, as I said before. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Law is passed. I got to tell you, Mary Beth, a lot of people are very concerned whether or not you're going to step aside or get sick or vacate your position. Wow. Take vitamins.
Take vitamins, Jesus.
Town of Pleasant Valley, notice of public hearing. Did we do this already?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't have to read all, thank God. Okay. Resolution 4006, 2022, resolution authorizing expenditure from the Capital Equipment Reserve Fund in the amount not to exceed $75,000 for the purchase of one new crew cab 4x4 truck. Whereas the town highway department, in order to continue its maintenance of the town roads, must replace a certain equipment to maintain operational capability. And whereas the town has determined that the purchase of said equipment is economically feasible and can meet the requirements and needs of the highway department in the future, and that the highway department has the space to house new equipment. Now, therefore, it be resolved that the town board hereby authorizes the purchase by competitive bidding of one pickup truck meeting the following description: a 250, 2500 Chevy or Ford or Ram crew cab 4x4 truck with a plow and associated trim. right? Am I getting that right? And accessories as specified by highway superintendent. And be it further resolved that the town board authorizes expenditure of up to $75,000 from the capital equipment reserve fund for the said purchase, subject to applicable law with reference to capital reserve fund transfers. And be it further resolved that this resolution is adopted subject to permissive referendum as provided by law. And be it further resolved that this resolution shall take effect immediately. The question of adoption of foregoing resolution was duly put to a vote on a roll call, which is resulted as follows.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I better check, I need to check that we don't need 4 votes on that. Let me check that.
Don't make me read it all and then do that.
All right.
It just occurred to me.
Stop me in the
because
beginning.
it's
If we
essentially a
needed a
bu-
supermajority, we should have known that a minute ago.
Yeah, sorry about that. I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I'm not,
I couldn't
I'll
imagine
check
why.
and make sure.
We've pretty
there
much
was-
done this, haven't we?
Yeah, we,
You have done it, yeah.
This is, we've already pretty much agreed, and this has gone out to,
oh, that's the adoption.
we still gotta go out to bid, don't we?
Well, so he's planning
Yes,
on.
we do.
Mr. Baxter is planning on going to one of the state bid trucks, but he needed to have the amount approved and the permissive referendum
Yes.
time run before he gets a final quote on the truck.
Yeah, as I recall, anytime he actually got the final bid on the truck and he put it up, we still had to vote on that, so.
Right, so we still have a vote coming,
Okay, so,
right.
okay,
Yeah.
right.
This is so we can go shopping, basically. So I can't see why we'd have to have a supermajority to go shopping.
Okay.
Well, that he
Needed to
got
know
it.
the amount of money. Right, so that's what this is, yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Notice hereby given the town, it's right here. Notice of adoption resolution.
Right, so that can be posted now because you've already voted.
Right,
So that's,
okay.
yeah.
Okay, Town Board Resolution 407, 2022, 4007, 2022. The resolution authorizing release of request for the proposal for the meeting organization and foil management technology and services. Is this for Granicus?
Yes.
Okay. Whereas the town board and town clerk have reached technology services, researched technology services to streamline the delivery services to town residents, including a management system for the documents and video associated with town meetings, and internet-based system for managing freedom of information requests. And whereas in accordance with the town's procurement policy, a written RFP should be released to seek one or more vendors to provide this specified services. And whereas pursuant to the attached request for proposals RFP, contractors will be solicited who can provide town meeting organization technology, FOIL request management technology, and a package and/or a package including both services. Now therefore it be resolved that the town board of the Town Pleasant Valley authorizes the town clerk to release the attached RFP.
So
Right?
moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
We did need to fill in on that RFP, the date that
What the date
the
that it's
date
due?
the proposals are due by.
Oh, let me look at it. Yeah, it's gonna be May.
Yeah, it's gotta be May at this point.
Yeah.
You wanna say May 15th? Is that too long? Right, so that's what I'm saying, if we go to May 16th, that's technically that's the start of the third week of May. Is that enough time? So you'd really be out there for 2 weeks.
That's gotta be enough time.
Noon? That's a Monday. Unless you wanna do it that Friday at noon, the 20th, alright, so May 20th?
Till May 20th?
Yeah, it gives enough people, I mean, like, but we've missed, that's fine. According to the clerk's office, we've missed the posting in the paper for it anyway. So let's give
Okay.
anyone ample amount of time.
Yep.
And then that way, if we open them on the 20th, we've talked about this enough that my hope and dream would be maybe on the 23rd, we have a meeting on the 16th, never mind.
Wait a minute, so we have a May 4th meeting?
We have a May 2nd
May
meeting.
2nd meeting and then a May So we're not talking about this until June.
Oh,
Yeah, because we would
wow.
have,
What's the, well,
Why can't we get it in the paper?
can we
Today's
do it this,
Monday.
can we do it
When's
the
the
third?
deadline?
Can we do it the 13th then? Can we open it the 13th? That way we can vote on this the 16th?
Yeah, let's get
Okay.
it to the 13th. This way,
Okay.
the
May
16th
13th
we
would
can
be
get
the,
on.
at noon. That's a Friday? Yes.
Okay, so everybody's okay with that?
Yep.
So we close it on the 13th, gives us time to discuss it, email, yabba dabba do, and all
Yeah,
that
just
stuff.
to send out the prices at this point. I think we
13th.
talked about it enough.
Good.
good.
Okay.
So, did we have a motion?
Yep.
We had a second?
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. This is request for the proposals. Let's see where we are. Okay.
God bless you.
So
All
I think
this
the
is a
next one
proposal.
is,
Hold on.
4,008,
Yeah.
Yep, I'm getting there. Just get through this book.
well, no, what I'm getting at is, there's a blank on it, and I think I was talking to Mayor, Councilwoman Albrecht before. I think she was waiting for information to help finish this.
Oh, this is for the,
Polling.
Oh, we don't have that information?
Nope. According to, I think she was waiting to get information back from one other, they did a site visit to figure out,
how many trips and how many,
yeah. And I don't know what the, I don't
I
know what the
thought
outcome
the
of that
sealed
was.
bids were all in. Yes, I sent the bids Thursday. The bids are in.
Oh, then never mind.
Yeah, the bids
Right.
are in, so.
So, do we know what the original RFP was? I think it was 16 trips, if I remember correctly. Danielle, can you remember? You don't remember. I'm almost positive it was 16 trips.
Okay.
of
Well,
how many-
the bids were pretty much not done by the trip, but by the ton.
By the ton, right, which came to
So it doesn't really matter the trips, it matters the
the
weight.
tonnage, right.
Yeah.
Can we go ahead? Because this is a little time sensitive.
Well, do we know who the low bidder is? Do we know
Yes,
who we're awarding it
we
to?
do.
Okay. So then let's,
Who do we
let me,
do we
let me
award it
pull
to?
it up, hold on.
What we need to do
Doesn't
is
say it.
award, well, we didn't know when we wrote this up, so the blank would be the bid from this company, or the bid of this amount of money from this company.
So who was the low bidder?
I don't know.
I'm working on it for you.
Okay, I'll tell you what, let's put this aside,
Put
go
that
to the
aside, we'll
next
come
one.
back to it, I'll pull it up.
We'll come back. We're getting it, Danielle, he's working on it.
Well, I'm not sure we care the number of trips. What we need to know is
The
the
tonnage.
amount, no,
count-
the amount of money.
Right.
Yeah.
Emily, you didn't receive a copy of the,
No.
oh, okay.
Okay,
I'll forward it to you.
moving on, we're gonna come back to that, so. We need to know who is awarded the bid and what the price was. All right, so moving on to the next one, 4009, so we keep moving here. Town Board Resolution 4009, 2022, resolution authorizing the termination of certain bank accounts and the allocation of funds to town programs. Whereas, the town bookkeeper has identified 2 bank accounts that are no longer active or needed. And whereas each account contains a small sum of money, and after a diligent research, no records have been found identifying a specific commitment to the funds. And whereas the town board finds that it is in the best interest of the town to close the accounts and use the funds for the understood intentions. Whereas the town consulted with the accounting and audit staff as to the accounting action necessary and with its attorney as to the legal action necessary. And now therefore it be resolved that the town board authorizes the town supervisor to close the Chase Bank account ending in 5310 titled Senior Account with a balance of approximately $477.60, as well as the Chase Bank account ending in 7374 titled Conklin Memorial Fund with a balance of approximately $334.46, and to place the funds in the town's general bank account, and be further resolved that the town board authorizes the town supervisor and bookkeeper to modify the 2022 adopted budget as follows. Account A2089, revenue, adult recreation, $477.60. Account A7620.400, expense, senior programs, $477.60. Account A2001, revenue, recreation, parks, $334.46. And count A7110.200, expense, parks, capital, $334.46.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye. Mr. Supervisor, I pulled up the quotes for the trucking.
Okay, let's
Go
fill in-
back to that.
We're gonna fill in the blanks?
Yeah, so just so everyone understands, we had 4 bids. One came in at $6.25 per ton, since we're looking at it per ton, right?
Right.
The second one came in at $10.50 per ton. The third bid, which seems to be the winner, is $3.42 per ton.
Winner.
And then the middle of the road came out to be $5.50. So the winner would be Snow Fountain Supply
Snow Fountain, correct.
at a rate of $3.42 per ton.
So, pursuant.
Which I have the total here as well, that seems to.
Okay, hold on one second, I want to fill in the blanks as you go in here.
Okay.
Competitive bidding law, the bid of what was it?
Oh, $3.42
$3.42
from Snow Fountain.
from Snow Fountain
Per ton.
Yeah, just
So
remember to put
342
per ton there.
per ton.
Yeah.
That's pretty cheap to move that much.
That's extremely cheap.
Yeah.
From Snow Fountain Supply.
Well, a lot of people really want to help out here, so this is great. Has determined the lowest, okay, resolved that the bid is hereby accepted, the town is to execute a contract with Snow Fountain.
Yep. Yep, for a maximum amount of, this comes out to be $11,970, so my 2 cents would just say make it 12,000 even, because you're talking $30.
Right?
Yeah,
12.
well, they were estimating on it,
Right.
giving on how much tonnage we told them we needed to
Exactly.
move.
Okay.
So,
All right, let's go back to that one.
Okay?
Resolution 4008, 2022. Resolution authorizing town supervisor to execute an agreement for hauling services for Helen Aldrich Park. Whereas the Helen Aldrich Park requires repair of a gully that has formed, and the town's recreation director and highway superintendent have determined that the clean fill and topsoil should be delivered to fill and grade the site. And whereas the material will be donated and the highway department will provide the labor to place the fill and topsoil, but a contractor is needed to deliver the fill and topsoil. And whereas by resolution 3013/2022, the town board authorized the town clerk to solicit bids for hauling services. And whereas the bids were solicited in accordance with the requirements of 103 of the general municipal law, and whereas the bids received were duly opened and reviewed by the recreation director, now therefore it be resolved that pursuant to the provisions of 103 of the general municipal law and the town of Pleasant Valley, the best value competitive bidding law of the bid of $3.42 per ton from Snow Fountain has been determined to be the lowest responsible bid for the hauling services specified. And be it further resolved that the bid is hereby accepted and the town supervisor is authorized to execute a contract with Snow Fountain for a maximum of $12,000 to complete the work. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
second,
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
And we did the next one
Just
already?
wanted to let you know, I did just research and we were fine with the vote on the truck.
You're so good. Thank you. So if I had to reread that again, all right. Appointment of, Town Board Resolution 4010, 2022. Appointment of 2022 Town of Pleasant Valley Summer Camp staff. Whereas the Town of Pleasant Valley intends to operate various summer camp programs open to its residents and members of the public, and whereas there are vacancies I was going to say vaccines, I really was. There are vacancies of the Town Pleasant Valley 2022 summer camp staff, and now therefore it be resolved that the Town Board of Town of Pleasant Valley hereby appoints the following 2022 summer camp staff. Day Camp Director Jennifer Strang at $18 per hour. Camp Health Director Joel Dongo at $17.90 per hour. Returning counselors Nick Whitten at $13.45 per hour, and Angel Abreu, Natalie Wood, really? $13.70 per hour.
I thought she got thrown overboard.
New counselors, Caitlin Bellevue, Claire Finelli, Brent Schultz at $13.20 per hour. Resolved that the Town Board of Town of Pleasant Valley does hereby designate and appoint the above staff for the 2022 Town of Pleasant Valley Summer Camp. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 4011, 2022, authorizing the creation, oh, this is my favorite one, all right, good. All right, this one I want to just explain a little. But I want to read it first. So, Town Resolution 4011, 2022, authorizing the creation of the Supervisors Advisory Committee. Whereas the Town Board of the Town of Pleasant Valley would like to create a Supervisors Committee, and whereas a Supervisor Advisory Committee will consist of former supervisors or someone previously in supervisors advisory positions, their duties and charter function will include advise the current supervisor and any future supervisors on matters pertaining to Pleasant Valley, help with the transitional period of incoming supervisors. Resolved, the Supervisor Advisory Committee will advise the current and any future supervisors on any matters pertaining to Pleasant Valley, either by request of the current supervisor or by the majority of the town board. And whereas the Supervisors Advisory Committee will consist of at least 3 minimum committee members with a maximum of 5 committee members, and be it resolved that the committee shall meet monthly and shall serve for a term of 5 years, and be it resolved that the Town Board of Town of Pleasant Valley shall designate the Supervisors Advisory Committee members to act as liaisons to the current and future supervisors, and be it resolved that the following individuals are hereby designated to the Supervisory Advisory Committee for the terms set forth herein. First members are Butch Gardner, starting December 31st, at a term expiring December 31st, 2027. Carl Tomick, also December 31st, 2027, and Gary Veeder, December 31st, 2027. And we can add to that down the line as we see fit. So before we vote on it, just want to, one of the things that I've seen being on this board now the longest, I've seen transitions. And some of the transitions went smooth, some of them did not. I think having former supervisors helping with the transitions is a good thing. I've also seen situations where maybe if a board had an outside committee to help a supervisor through a rough patch or advise him through something that was that supervisor may be struggling with, that might be something beneficial to that supervisor. Also, I also wanted to put in there a piece where the town board itself can call upon this committee if they feel that a town supervisor, let's say, goes rogue and goes off the rails for whatever reason, and maybe bringing in counseling would be a good thing. So that was one of the reasons why I thought of this. Do I hear a motion?
So made.
I'll second it because I want to talk about it.
Okay, discussion.
Yeah, so a couple questions. Typically when we do committees, everyone doesn't expire on the same date, like it's a rolling. So just a thought process that we should think about. And the second thought is that the second whereas, where it talks about what somebody previously has to be, Butch Gardner was never our town supervisor.
No, and that was, wanted it in a supervisory position.
I gotcha.
So he has.
He was a superintendent, I guess.
He was a
Yep.
superintendent. He was supervising a very big budget.
Yeah, yeah.
A lot of people. So I felt that his expertise and his knowledge of the town would be beneficial as well.
Is this supposed to say in a supervisory position then, or
Yeah, and,
supervisor?
yeah,
A supervising position.
yeah.
Okay.
So let's just modify that then.
So my only other thought process is I don't know how I mean, like, we talked about it, but we didn't disclose who we were appointing. So my only other 2 cents would be maybe just to table it until the whole board gets their view on it.
Certainly.
Okay.
I got no problem with that.
Yeah,
But-
just because, I mean, like, they didn't, I mean, Mary or Councilwoman Albrecht or Councilman Reifenberg didn't get eyes on, I mean, like, they didn't get to see who you picked for this, so.
Well, I was under the impression that we had to, correct me, you may be able to weigh in on it. I thought we had to just make the actual committee itself and create the position, and then we could name them later. But I was told that we had to name some
Oh, I think, so, I think it's the second, I think you have to create an endpoint at the same time.
and apply at the same time,
Yeah.
so that's fine.
Yeah, I think,
That's
Yeah,
fine.
and that's a little touchy, because like when I started the Veterans Affairs Committee, I started it, and then I had to advertise for people and et cetera.
Right.
and that
Well, in
was
this
drawn
case,
out.
you wouldn't have to advertise anything, because you have the people available to.
right, you already know
choose.
who the. yeah.
You know who they are.
Yeah, there's only so many people that fit the role, so.
Well, yeah, I mean, the general public can't just jump into that one.
No.
Right.
So I guess I'll motion that we just table this until next meeting to vote on it.
We can certainly do that. And we have a second to table. All in favor to table?
Aye.
Aye.
We already did that one.
We already did this one. See how,
see
how
how-
good that feels when you get to that
Nice.
one? Right?
Nice.
Okay. And that brings us to open the meeting to the public for new business only. So everything we just discussed, we really don't want to discuss it again. So if you have something we haven't heard tonight,
That's right.
something that, an idea, a plan, a thought, something we haven't brought up, I think we covered a lot of ground. I move that we open to the public for new business
I
only.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone?
3 times the charm.
I guess a thought is new business.
Yes, we're on the new business.
Gee, I'm learning. Well, let me give you this thought. I kind of hang around here quite a bit. And what I see is progress. I commend the supervisor partially for that, the town board, and the department heads. I think that you kind of took part of this away from what I was going to say, but
Oh, I'm sorry.
I think all that has helped so that we can get things moving in this town. And I see people more willing to volunteer to do things, and I think that's part of this. And I'm happy to see that because it's been lacking for a while now. I don't feel tension when I come in here, and it's a tribute to a multiple number of people, but it's plus. And you have talked about Spectrum, and I'm not going to give you a whole bunch, but they just dropped 3 channels that were free. You know?
They are what they are.
Yeah.
So, but I will say that our attorney, Mr. Raplansky, is working with that. I believe also in part of the negotiations, we're talking about maybe that build-out that they were talking about, including that in there. So that's really cool, too. I mean, so there's some things that are, we can ask for, and some things we can get in this process. Whereas if we just keep it open the way it is, and the way it's been sitting, how long is this, have we working without an agreement? A long time.
2018.
How many years?
I think it was 5 or so.
Yeah, it's way past due to come up with so we can maybe get some things in the negotiations, which would be very helpful, so.
Yeah, and generally, it's been a bunch of good stuff.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else?
I'd just like to thank Supervisor Veeder for the compliment on the new board. We really do, at least I really appreciate that. I'm taking them as they come.
So it's been a lot of stuff tonight, a lot of information, a lot of work, and a lot of good work done by our people here in Town Hall. Do I hear anyone else? Without anyone else getting up, I move to close the meeting to the public.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Due to the fact that we don't have two board members with us tonight, I'm going to forego the executive session due to the fact that it's stuff they need to be under discussion on. So I move to close the meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. Have a good night, and I hear the rain, so be very careful.